Harley Davidson just got wrecked. Indian dropped a $13,000 monster, the new Challenger, and it obliterated the Road Glide. More power, more tech, less money, no excuses. So what happens when Harley gets outgunned and overpriced? What happens to your ride, your wallet, and your loyalty when the crown slips for good? What's happening? When Indian Motorcycle launched the new Challenger at just $13,000, it rocked the motorcycle world. This wasn't just a price drop, it was a direct challenge to Harley Davidson's dominance. For decades, Harley relied on brand loyalty to justify bikes priced well over $25,000. But Indian flipped the script. Riders are now comparing both brands and discovering that the Challenger offers more power, tech, and value for thousands less. Dealerships are feeling the shift. In one bold move, Indian has redefined what American riders should expect from a bagger and how much they should pay for it. As the dust settles from this pricing detonation, what matters next is what's inside the Challenger. And it turns out, the powertrain is where Indian truly sharpened the knife. The power that made Milwaukee tremble. At the heart of the Indian Challenger lies a revolution, not just in horsepower, but in mindset. The Power Plus 112 engine is not an evolution of Indian's past. It's a statement of intent. A full-scale assault on Harley Davidson's dominance, and it's winning. This liquid-cooled V-twin doesn't play by the old rules. It's not here to sound vintage or feel nostalgic. It's here to outrun, outpull, and outclass anything Harley has on the market. With 126 horsepower and 133 pound-feet of torque, the Power Plus engine outperforms Harley's biggest offering, the Milwaukee 8117, by a significant margin. But these numbers only tell part of the story. The real shift is in how that power is delivered. The Challenger's torque hits early and stays strong. With its overhead cam design and modern 4-valve per-cylinder layout, the engine delivers a flat, aggressive torque curve that pulls hard from the first twist of the throttle. It's the kind of power you feel in your chest. It surges through the mid-range and it doesn't quit when you expect it to. By contrast, Harley's air-cooled design, with its lower redline and dated valve train, starts to feel breathless as the RPMs climb. The Harley might roar, but the Indian flies. And it's not just about the engine. The way this bike handles that power is equally revolutionary. Indian's cast aluminum frame delivers a level of stiffness and stability that's unheard of in this segment. Paired with inverted front forks and a Fox monotube rear shock, the Challenger doesn't wallow or wander. It cuts through corners, tracks clean through high-speed sweepers, and responds to rider input like a machine half its size. Riders consistently report a level of confidence that makes them lean harder, ride faster, and stay in the saddle longer. But here's the kicker. This isn't just a faster bike, it's a smarter one. Indian included ride modes that tailor the engine's personality to the conditions. Rain, Standard, and Sport transform throttle response, power delivery, and traction control settings at the push of a button. The result? One motorcycle that can be 3 different machines, depending on where you're headed. On a wet back road, it's tame and composed. On a dry canyon run, it's ferocious. Harley, meanwhile, offers no equivalent customization on the Road Glide. One throttle map, one mode, take it or leave it. Real-world riders feel the difference. In back-to-back test rides, they describe the Challenger as smoother, more eager, and more precise. It feels modern because it is modern. Indian's engineers didn't just chase more power, they engineered a system where the motor, chassis, and electronics all talk to each other. And when they do, the result is a ride that's not just fast, but fully in control. The numbers are only the beginning. What Indian has done is turned specs into sensations. They've taken torque and turned it into trust, horsepower into hunger, and engineering into exhilaration. That's the new benchmark Harley has to meet, and it's a high one. And what happens when you marry that kind of power with handling that feels more like a race bike than a touring rig? That's where Indian's engineering moves from impressive to revolutionary. And if you're enjoying this breakdown, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more hard-hitting motorcycle deep dives, because this ride isn't over yet. Handling like a sport bike, comfort like a couch. At the center of this transformation is the Challenger's cast aluminum frame. Unlike the traditional tubular steel frames used by most cruisers, including Harley's Road Glide, Indian's aluminum monocoque structure delivers significantly more rigidity without the weight penalty. That translates into a chassis that resists flex in corners, tracks like a laser through sweepers, and feels stable even when fully loaded with a passenger and bags. It's not just stiffer, it's smarter. Up front, Indian has equipped the Challenger with inverted front forks, a feature more commonly found on superbikes than on baggers. These upside upside-down forks reduce unsprung weight and increase torsional stiffness, meaning the front end stays planted and composed even under hard braking or aggressive cornering. Riders report a surreal sense of control. The front wheel responds with immediacy, without wobble, dive, or delay. Out back, a Fox monotube shock with over 4 inches of travel keeps things plush without ever feeling wallowy. And thanks to Indian's thoughtful tuning, the Challenger manages to soak up rough pavement while still delivering precise feedback through the bars and seat. On twisty roads, it turns in confidently and transitions between lean angles with surprising ease. On the highway, it glides along like a magic carpet. What Indian has built here is not just a more capable bagger, it's a new archetype. The Challenger rides like a much lighter machine, but never sacrifices the planted feel that long-distance riders demand. The result is a motorcycle that invites you to push harder, ride longer, and arrive feeling less fatigued. And now that the performance and ride quality are setting new benchmarks, there's only one question left. How will Harley respond to a new king in its own kingdom? The features Harley refused to add. There was a time when Harley Davidson could afford to ignore innovation and still dominate. Riders were so fiercely loyal to the brand that nostalgia alone kept them coming back. But in 2025, loyalty does not replace functionality. And the new Indian Challenger proves just how much Harley has fallen behind. What once seemed like bells and whistles on a spec sheet have now become industry expectations. Indian saw the shift coming and Harley refused to pivot. That refusal is now costing them riders. Start with the technology. Indian's Power Plus 112 models come with a comprehensive suite of rider assist tech features that no Harley bagger currently matches. The most striking of these is blind spot monitoring. It may sound like a luxury, but on wide fairing equipped touring bikes where rear visibility is often compromised, it is a game changer. LED indicators placed directly in the mirrors alert riders to vehicles they might otherwise never see. It is not just convenient, it is life-saving. Harley Davidson, for all its prestige, still has not implemented anything close to this on the road glide. Next is Indian's brake hold system, an absolute game changer for stop-and-go traffic, hills, or long tours. By pressing either brake lever, the system holds the bike in place, letting riders take their foot off the pedal even on a slope. Simple, yet brilliantly executed. Harley offers nothing comparable, which speaks volumes. Then there's Indian's electronically linked braking system, which dynamically balances front and rear braking based on lean angle and speed. It works so smoothly riders barely notice until they need it. Harley still relies on manual input, a dated approach that feels clunky and outmatched in today's fast, unpredictable riding environments. Indian has also introduced a rear collision warning system. Using sensors and taillight pulses, it alerts both the rider and trailing vehicles of an imminent rear-end collision risk. Again, it sounds futuristic until you use it. Then you wonder why every large touring bike doesn't already come with it. The simple truth is, Harley has been slow to recognize how much safety tech today's riders expect. That lag is not just about being old school, it is costing them customers. For touring riders, this is just one part of the story. Endurance, convenience, and versatility matter too, and this is where Indian's design decisions show their full strength. Touring without limits. The Challenger's hard bags offer over 18 gallons of storage and feature remote locking right from the handlebars, a small but brilliant touch that riders instantly appreciate. Harley's Road Glide bags are slightly smaller and still require manual locking. It might seem minor, but over time the difference is obvious. Fuel efficiency tells a similar story. The Challenger's liquid-cooled engine is not just about horsepower, it is about thermal efficiency. Indian riders report consistent highway mileage in the upper 40s even when riding fully loaded. And thanks to the engine's heat management system, which includes rear cylinder deactivation, the bike stays remarkably cool in traffic. That is not just comfort, it is survival in places like Nevada, Arizona, or Florida. Even the seat height and ergonomic design speak to the touring lifestyle. The Challenger offers a seat height of just under 26 27 inches, with a narrow cut that lets most riders flat-foot the bike at stops. The Road Glide sits taller and wider, which can be a deal breaker for shorter riders or those carrying passengers. The Challenger is also quieter when you want it to be, and louder when you need it to be. With power band audio pumping 400 watts through its fairing and bags, you hear your playlist even at 80 miles per hour. Riders consistently rate Indian's stock audio above Harley's boombox systems. That means no more shouting over wind noise, no more losing signal strength or audio clarity in the mountains. This attention to the complete touring experience is not accidental. Indian built the Challenger for the rider who does not want limits, who refuses to compromise between speed and comfort, between tech and tradition, between style and substance. The Road Glide, in comparison, feels like it is still asking riders to pick one. But touring range and ride quality are only part of the equation. The real test begins after the sale. When the miles add up, the service bills roll in, and the upgrades start stacking. And that's where Indian quietly pulls away again. The hidden cost of owning a Harley. On the surface, Harley Davidson and Indian motorcycles seem like two sides of the same coin. American-made baggers with big engines and bold presence. But beneath the chrome and branding lies a reality that too many riders discover only after the sale. Harley ownership comes with hidden costs that add up fast. Start with parts and maintenance. While Harley's extensive dealer network may seem like a strength, it often means paying premium prices for labor and OEM components. A basic service visit, especially for the touring lineup, can run hundreds of dollars. Add in air-cooled maintenance needs, valve adjustments, overheating issues, old-school diagnostics, and the bills start stacking up. And that's before you get to upgrades. The truth is, many Harley buyers walk out of the showroom and straight into the parts catalog. To get their Road Glide feeling road ready, most riders tack on an additional $3,000 to $5,000 in accessories. Upgraded seats, better audio, more effective suspension, LED lighting, heated grips, and the long list of should-have-been stock touring essentials quickly drive up the true cost of ownership. And once those mods are in place, riders often find themselves back at the dealership months later chasing fixes or firmware updates because the platform wasn't built for plug-and-play upgrades the way Indian's is. Indian takes a different approach. The Challenger isn't just well-priced, it's well-equipped out of the crate. Ride modes, electronically linked braking, high-performance suspension, and premium audio are standard. You're not paying extra for functionality that should already be there. You're not walking away with a to-do list and an empty wallet. Indian's design team built the Challenger to be complete, not a project. And it's not just about money, it's about time. Harley's older architecture and air-cooled systems require more frequent service intervals. That means more downtime in the shop, more weekends lost to waiting, and more frustration when you just want to ride. Indian's liquid-cooled Power Plus engine is more efficient, more durable, and built to run longer without constant wrenching. Riders report fewer service visits, fewer warranty issues, and fewer performance drop-offs over time. Speaking of warranty, Indian's factory coverage is another advantage. Polaris backs the Challenger with generous terms, and extended service options are often more affordable and more flexible than what Harley offers. It's not just about peace of mind. It's about confidence that your money is being invested, not gambled. So while Harley may still trade on its legacy, riders are doing the math and realizing that the sticker price is only the beginning. Between maintenance, must-have upgrades, and missed time on the Road Glide becomes far more expensive than it looks. Indian, on the other hand, gives you more from day one and keeps you riding without the surprise costs that make loyalty feel like a burden. The real value of a motorcycle isn't just in what it promises, it's in what it delivers every day you own it. And that's where Indian pulls ahead again, not just on the road, but at the bank. And once riders do the math, not just on paper, but over months of real ownership, they start to ask a different question. Why pay more to get less? That realization isn't just shifting opinions, it's shifting entire showrooms. The day Harley lost the dealership floor, it started quietly, just a few riders walking into dealerships asking about the new Indian Challenger. Sales staff humored them at first, a test ride here, a curious glance there, but then something shifted. Riders weren't coming back to compare, they were coming back to buy. The crown Harley Davidson had worn for decades didn't fall in one loud moment. It slid off slowly under the fluorescent lights of showrooms across the country. The Indian Challenger changed the rules of the sales game overnight. With a base price around $13,000 and a feature list that embarrassed Harley's Road Glide, it forced dealers and riders to take a hard look at what they were getting for their money. And the truth was undeniable. Indian was offering more bike for fewer dollars, more power, more safety tech, more touring comfort, all without the bloated price tag that had long been Harley's norm. Harley dealerships began to feel the pressure. What used to be temples of American V-twin loyalty suddenly felt outdated. Where once the conversation was about chrome and customization, now it was about ride modes, rear collision alerts, and engine cooling systems. Riders were coming in with spreadsheets, spec sheets, and YouTube reviews in hand. And when they rode the Challenger, they didn't ask follow-up questions. They walked away from Harley, and they didn't look back. The effect rippled across the entire industry. Indian dealers, once fighting for scraps, were now leading showroom traffic. Wait lists formed, trade-ins surged, and more importantly, the average age of Indian's customer base began to dip. They weren't just stealing Harley's riders, they were drawing in younger ones. Riders who grew up on smartphones, who expect tech, who want performance that works now not after a dozen mods. Riders who don't care about legacy, they care about results. Harley, for its part, still leans hard on its heritage, and in some corners, that still works. The brand carries weight. The name means something, but the cracks in that foundation are widening. When riders crunch the numbers, when they ride both bikes back to back, when they compare features, not feelings, Harley's advantage disappears. And it's not just a matter of time, it's a matter of urgency. If Harley doesn't act fast, what began as a few defections could become a full-blown exodus. Because what Indian proved with the Challenger isn't just that it can compete, it's that it can lead. And in the modern motorcycle market, riders follow performance, not promises. This wasn't just the day Indian took the crown, it was the day Harley Davidson learned that legacy can't carry you forever, not when your rival is delivering the future at a price riders can actually afford. The king of the showroom was no longer wearing bar and shield. And as one chapter closes, another begins. The fall of a giant and the rise of a new American standard. For decades, Harley Davidson didn't just build motorcycles, it built an identity. A chrome-plated symbol of rebellion, freedom, and American pride. Riders didn't just buy Harleys, they bought into the myth. And for a long time, that myth was enough. But somewhere along the road, the story started to crack. Outsourcing, layoffs, plant closures. Harley's connection to the American worker began to fade. The prices kept climbing, but the innovations didn't. Riders were told to wait for change, wait for updates, wait for Harley to catch up with a world that was moving fast. But Indian didn't wait. Polaris, Indian's parent company, quietly doubled down on American manufacturing. While Harley flirted with overseas production, Indian planted roots in the very communities Harley had abandoned. Assembly remained in the United States. Investment remained in local jobs. The Challenger wasn't just engineered to compete, it was built to remind riders what American motorcycles were supposed to feel like. Fast, functional, forward-looking, and riders took notice, not just because of specs or pricing, but because Indian offered something Harley had lost: momentum, a clear, confident sense of purpose. The Challenger is not a throwback, it's a declaration, one that says the American V-twin can evolve without losing its soul. The dethroning didn't happen on a stage. There was no dramatic announcement. It happened on test rides, in dealership lobbies, and in online forums. Riders didn't switch because of slick ads, they switched because the Challenger simply rode better. It handled better, it offered more, and it made Harley's premium price tag look less like pride and more like denial. Veteran Harley owners who once swore they'd never ride anything else are now trading in for Indian, not because they stopped loving the past, but because they got tired of waiting for the future. Riders no longer want nostalgia packaged as innovation. They want machines that prove their worth on the road, not just on a badge. And Indian delivered. This isn't just about motorcycles, it's about identity. It's about who gets to define what an American bike is in 2025 and beyond. For years, Harley held that title unchallenged, but now Indian is rewriting the rules with a liquid-cooled engine, with cast aluminum frames, with real tech, real value, and real rider-first thinking. It's not just that the crown slipped, it's that Harley stopped defending it, and Indian, without apology, picked it up. The Challenger's success doesn't mark the end of Harley Davidson, but it does mark the end of Harley's monopoly on American motorcycling greatness. The rider who once had one choice now has a better one, and it's built right here in the same country where Harley's legend was born. Only this time, the legacy is being carried forward, not held back. But there's another layer most riders are just starting to realize. This isn't just about 2025, it's about everything coming next. Future-proof. Why Indian is built for what's coming. The motorcycle world is changing fast, and not just on the showroom floor. Emissions regulations are tightening, tech integration is accelerating, and rider expectations are evolving with every software update. Indian didn't just build the Challenger for today's roads, they built it for tomorrow's rules. Start with the engine. Indian's liquid-cooled Power Plus 112 is already years ahead of Harley's Milwaukee 8 in both efficiency and emissions readiness. It's not just about horsepower, it's about thermal management, cleaner combustion, and compatibility with stricter future emission standards. The writing is on the wall, and air-cooled engines like Harley's are racing the clock. That might not matter on a weekend ride, but it'll matter a lot when new regulations hit and riders are stuck paying upgrade premiums or losing resale value altogether. And speaking of upgrades, Indian has positioned the Challenger to evolve with the times, digitally. From ride modes and traction control to its full ride command infotainment system, this is a bike built to adapt. Over-the-air updates, software patching, and diagnostic tools are all part of Indian's toolkit. In short, they've turned the motorcycle into a platform, not a one-time purchase. Riders can expect improvements over time, not just decals and new paint jobs. Meanwhile, Indian is already field testing the future. Prototype models are being equipped with radar-based adaptive cruise control, collision avoidance systems, and semi-active suspension systems that adjust in real time to road conditions. These are not science fiction. These are the next evolution in rider safety, comfort, and performance. And Indian is out front. That's why more and more riders are calling the Challenger not just a great bike, but a smart investment. It's not only about how it performs today, it's about how it stays relevant tomorrow. Because in the end, it's not just about beating the competition in 2025, it's about still being worth owning in 2030. And right now, only one American V-twin is truly built for that future. Got thoughts on the Challenger versus Road Glide? Drop a comment below, let's hear it. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next.